What's going on, Hurricane fans? Welcome back. We are here to recap what I think was one of the more important, maybe not the biggest recruiting weekend of June. That was probably a couple of weeks ago as far as the amount of star power that was down here, but it was up there. And a very important one because this was the last big recruiting visit weekend before the dead period in July. And it coincided with Legends Camp that began on Thursday. So lots to go over there. I believe the team, the coaching staff made some positive moves and are trending in the right direction for a number of guys. I believe some guys they closed the gap with, other guys that I think they might have even pulled ahead and taken the lead with. And, a few that I could be expecting, a commit any day now. But thanks, guys, for being on. Tenga, Lex, Daniel collects, welcome. As the chat fills up, let's talk about this past weekend, some of the bigger talking points. First of all, Chance Robinson. That's probably the biggest one. Lex, thank you for the dono. Appreciate it. As always, I will use it for cafecito, as always. But thank you. Appreciate that. And so Chance Robinson, as I was saying, so he all but reaffirmed his commitment to Miami. We were all starting to sweat a little bit. I'll be honest, I wasn't. I've said it on the show. I was probably like 80 to 90% certain he was going to stick with Miami. I wasn't too concerned. There wasn't too much reason for concern aside from he went and visited Florida and had a good visit. Yeah, it happens. This is recruiting. They're going to take their visits. We're not one of those. We're not one of those schools, and nor should we be. We're not one of those schools that makes you lock down your visit now. I'll go more into that in a second, but we're not one of those. We're not going to make you lock down your visit right now. We'll, give you time to talk it over with your family, take your visits, make sure it's the right decision for you. But we always make a positive move. When we have these big recruiting visits, I believe we're right up there as far as the official visit or even an unofficial visit being our biggest weapon when it comes to bringing in new recruits, because Miami speaks for itself, especially if it's a great weather weekend. Weather certain days this weekend didn't cooperate, but that's why we have the indoor practice facility. So that made a big difference. Earlier this month, the NBA Finals was going on here. So, plenty to do. Obviously, if being in an international city like Miami is your flavor as opposed to a college town, then hey, there's no better city, honestly. Ulysses, yeah, a lot of recruits, a lot of visits, no actual recruits, meaning no actual commitments. Daniel, you have a good answer here. Yeah, if they're gonna commit on the spot, it's because they probably talked it over with their families and they were already at that point. Remember, a lot of these bigger names, especially nowadays in recruiting, it's kind of changed over the last few years. A lot of them are announcing in July, and a great visit isn't going to change typically when they're going to announce. They might move it up a little bit or whatever, or change, but most of them are going to be announcing in July. That's when a lot of these commitments will start rolling in. But that's really why. But if you notice, Ulysses, throughout June, after every weekend, there's been at least one guy committing by Sunday or Monday. The biggest one most recently was Kevin Riley. But Chance Robinson, even though he was already a commit, I think him reaffirming that and locking that down and saying, yeah, I'm a Cane, that was big because right now he's our top wide receiver prospect. And he's the top wide receiver on, in the class right now that's verbally committed. And he's a star. That kid's an absolute stud. So reaffirming his commitment and locking him down was massive. So that was a win, a recruiting win versus the Gators right there. And another thing, hearing what he had to say and reading about it, Chance is pretty confident he's going to get to play early in this offense. when he comes in as a freshman. And I agree with him because he'll be coming in during a transition period where some guys might be leaving early for the NFL, some guys might be graduating, maybe somebody transfers out. It's a very fluid thing. That being said, we are going after a lot of guys at the wide receiver position. And because of who we might have coming back next year, I don't see us taking more than 4. We already got Chance. And, you're talking to guys like LaWayne McCoy, Jeray Hawkins, and let's see who else. Ja'Cory Barney, the other speedster from Palmetto, and of course Jeremiah, the big one, the whale that we're trying to reel in. And of course JoJo Trader, which would probably be the biggest of the most realistic guys that we can bring in. That's still a big name. I would say JoJo Trader's the biggest one, Jeremiah Smith's teammate. So got a lot of guys we're going after and only so many spots, but we'll see what happens there. But I don't see us taking more than 4 receivers, to be honest with you. But really any combination of those guys I will take it. Chance is pretty much locked in. He's on board. And I'm just grabbing names out of the air. But if it's Chance, let's say LaWayne McCoy, Ja'Cory Barney, the speedster, and JoJo, I'm set. I'm pretty set with that. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree. Some of those names are interchangeable. I know Jeray Hawkins, I was looking at his tape earlier today, and my God, he's fast. He's just otherworldly kind of speed. Ja'Cory Barney is pretty close to that as well. Ja'Cory Barney's 6 feet tall, though. So he's got the height differential there. Ja'Cory Barney can also play on the outside. He's a 4-star recruit according to the composite. You can move him, being able to move inside or outside and create mismatch nightmares. That's something that today's modern day receiver needs to know how to do. We're seeing it more and more in the NFL with the Justin Jeffersons and the Chris Olaves of the world. So I could totally see Ja'Cory Barney being another one of those guys. Right in our backyard, Palmetto High School. If you're not in Miami, Palmetto High School is literally it's down the street from Gulliver. It's on a weekend. It is a 10-minute drive, 11-minute drive from the University of Miami campus. That is backyard. In my opinion, we got to land that dude. I love his tape. So that's the receivers. And of course, Jeremiah Smith, we're doing everything we can there. I think we had a very, very good visit with him when he was here. You saw him taking pictures with Chance Robinson and some of the coaches. He looks good in that hurricane orange and green. I got to tell you, that's he looks good as a king. But we'll see. We have a morsel of a chance at Jeremiah Smith, but that's one you don't give up on because he is a program-changing kind of talent. If we swing and miss, we swing and miss. It's fine. We got a ton of other very talented receivers that we're looking at, that we're looking to bring in. So I'm not worried about the receiver position like I was last year. I think we're going to do a great job. And a big part of that is having Kevin Beard on board as the wide receiver coach. So that's it for the receivers. Another dude that I was reading about that I was looking into, Kendall Jackson. Apparently we made a big time move in the right direction for him. He's right now listed as a 3-star recruit, defensive lineman. He's ranked the number 33 defensive lineman in the class. Now, another guy that, underrated a little bit, but I love his tape. 6'4", 250, decent size. He's one of those guys that's kind of a tweener. And not a tweener in a bad way, because there's tweeners that are like, you're too big for this, but too small for that. So, you're not going to really excel in either one. Then there's tweeners where, like Ruben Bain, that he can line up inside with his hand in the dirt. He can line up outside. He can line up outside standing. He will excel from any position on the D-line getting to the quarterback. That's the kind of guy Mario Cristobal's trying to get. He loves the guys that are kind of tweeners, but that can excel. They're versatile. That's the right word. They're versatile because they can excel in different spots and you can cross-train them. That helps depth. And it's a very smart way to help depth because if you're in a pinch, you lose. Let's say you put this guy at the end because Kendall Jackson, I would say his biggest quality is speed, edge rusher, but he can line up inside a little bit. If you're in a pinch, you got to put him inside because the D tackle got dinged up and you're a little short there. Put him in. He's 6'4". He's got good height. He could probably beef up to like that 250, 260 range. Put him in NASCAR packages and let's go. So Kendall Jackson, a lot of SEC schools are after this young man. This is another one that I could see, like Dalen Russell from Columbus, like Chris Wheatley-Humphrey. All these guys are 3-stars now, but you're like, I do not see this guy staying a 3-star. His tape is too good. Teams are starting to notice him. This is another guy in that long list of 3-stars that are definitely on the rise. Let's see who else. So we got Kendall Jackson. Oh, and obviously JT, defensive line. He's making a big impact there. He's got a good rapport with him. So that's making a difference. So now it's pretty much going to be an in-state battle, I think, between us and Florida for him. But SEC schools, you know, they're not giving up on him. Let's see who else. We got Corey Barney, the receivers. Oh, Judd Anderson. I really love what I'm reading about Judd. I did see that he mentioned, I think it was on Kane Sport that that they were writing about, that they spoke with him, and he mentioned that the feel is right now, or the understanding is that Judd is QB1 for this class, that's the dude they're taking. I'll be honest, I would love another quarterback. I would love to take 2 in this cycle. But if that's the guy, that's the guy. You let me know. You guys let me know in the comments how you feel about Judd Anderson being the one guy, like we just take him and that's it. I will tell you this. The intangibles are certainly there. He's displaying the leadership qualities you want in a quarterback, all the leadership qualities that we saw in Emory Williams coming in. From what I've seen, you know, again, novice film watcher, but I like what I see. You can't teach 6'7". Very nimble on his feet for 6'7". Remember, he's a basketball player. Those 2 sport athletes, you know, that makes a difference. Pat Mahomes, he was a 3-star recruit, but a 2-sport athlete. So there you go. Judd Anderson, I mean, the ball just flies out of his hand. The dude has a gift in that right arm, let me tell you. So, you know, if he's the one guy, I would love one more just in case, but if he's the guy, he's the guy. I love that he's been the ambassador of this class. He's done a great job of that. That's another thing I've enjoyed watching. He's all over Twitter whenever somebody says, oh, I'm coming down to Miami, 25th to the 28th, whatever, he'll repost it with an eyes emoji or whatever. But, you know, I think that's a big deal for these recruits, having that ambassador and it being the quarterback and just trying to bring in as many, you know, studs and receivers onto campus as possible and just talking with them, building that relationship already, you know, selling that dream that, hey, if with me here and a few of you guys, man, we can dominate. We can dominate here. So I like what I'm seeing there. Great leadership qualities. Couple more notes. Jalen Hayward, the DB that's committed to University of Georgia, stands at, from what I saw, 5'11 and a half, $175, $180. Not the biggest dude in the world. I believe I read the right height and weight there. I was surprised when I saw that. But, you know, UGA committee is an elite prospect. Jalen Hayward, from what I read, what he was saying in interviews and stuff, didn't get the warm and fuzzies there, but I think he had a solid visit here. That could be a guy that we just kind of chip away at over time. Right now, he's very solid with Georgia still. But we'll see if we make progress there. Of course, at safety, Zaquan Patterson is our #1 target. If you can get him and Hayward, that's a nice injection of talent at a position that you don't have a lot of numbers, really. Not saying we don't have talent. Obviously, you got, you got Cam Kinchins, you got James Williams. Your top 2, you got the most talented safety tandem, one of the most talented in the country. But not many layers beneath that. You got Marquis Williams, you got Brian Balaam. Who after that, though, honestly, that you can point to and be like, okay, they're going to have a huge role this season. Unless you move maybe Jadaeus Richard or one of those new transfers to safety, I don't really see. You got to inject more, like just layers and layers of talent, like the big schools have, especially at safety. So that's my thoughts on Jalen Hayward and Marquis Lightfoot. By all accounts, had an amazing visit. I think we hit a home run here. Marquis Lightfoot, right now we're sitting in his top 4. It's us, Ohio State, USC, and I believe Illinois is the 4th one. Elite pass rusher, elite edge rusher, 6'5", 220. He's on the lighter side. And this is something that JT can relate to. Jason Taylor was in his prime, in his playing days, was right around 6'6", 240, 245 maybe. I think he was listed as 260, but he wasn't anywhere. I don't think he was anywhere near that. I think he was like in the 240s, 6'6". He was always undersized, but one of the best edge rushers in NFL history. That's something that, you know, those lighter athletic edge rushers, I think, can relate to Jason Taylor a lot more than they can with any other coach. And I think that's a big weapon in recruiting. But, you know, they got similar builds. So, you know, let's see if we can bring him in and Jason Taylor had a chance to mold him for the next couple of years. That'll be big. But like I said, yeah, we sit in this top 4 right now. 3 crystal balls right now have him going to Ohio State. So he's not an Ohio State commit, but he's very much leaning that way. Let's see if we can flip him in the other direction. So I believe that's it for big name updates. Let me see if I missed anything in the chat. I think Pat was a 4-star. Oh, you're right. He was a 3-star. Yep. If we can get off to a 6-0 start, we may get both whales. Let me tell you, the way the schedule is set up, this is possible because you got Miami of Ohio should be a dominant win. You got Texas A&M, which I have been saying it all offseason. I think that is a very winnable game. You got Bethune-Cookman. Obviously, you know, that should be a win. That should be an easy win. A chance for some of the young guys to get on the field, get some playing time. I would love to see all 3 quarterbacks play in that game. That's a Thursday night. And then the 4th game, I'm trying to remember which is the 4th game, but I know like the first 5 or 6 games, really the toughest one is Texas A&M. All 5 of those games very winnable. I think we might have, I think our 6th game is North Carolina. But I'm trying, Temple is in that first 4. That's right. I think Temple's in those first 4 or 5 games, so that's also should be a win. So it's setting up where you can get off to a 5-0, 6-0 start, possibly. I mean, things have to bounce our way, and, you know, a lot of new talent on the team. They're unproven still. But also, there's reason for excitement at the same time for that same reason. New offense that people haven't seen tape on yet, that we're going to make some tweaks to, that we're mixing this air raid and power running scheme together. I'm curious to see how that works out. If it does, that would be huge. But yes, to your point, autism awareness, you get off to a 6-0 start, and that you beating UNC is like that exclamation point at the end. Recruiting will take off in a big way. In a big way. Now, I mean, because to do that, we would have to score points. A guy like Jeremiah Smith, for example, if we get off to a 6-0 start and we're scoring points doing it, you get his attention big time. Like, for real. Let's see. Which garbage team would put us on upset alert the most? Good question, Mitch. You know, Virginia Tech is, you know, they were very bad last year. They kind of went through the same thing we did. New coach, changing the culture, you know, and I think he's a first-time head coach also. So, you know, he might be a little over his head, or he might start to turn that thing around quicker than we think. You never know. Virginia Tech's always a tough one. Actually, wait, do we even play Virginia Tech? They might not even be on our schedule. Never mind. Scratch that. That's right, because of the whole realignment. I don't even think we play Virginia Tech this year. That's right. Jason Clutch says Temple. Maybe I could see that, but that should be a win. Let's see who else. I know we play Virginia. NC State, that's not going to be an easy one. I wouldn't say that's upset alert. Yeah, no, 100% agreed. That's why I think getting off to a great start is key, because the second half of the season is very tough. Clemson at home, FSU on the road. I believe Pitt is on the road. That's never easy. It's going to be, you know, colder weather game. We've had success in those in the past up in Pitt, but it's, you know, never an easy game against Pittsburgh. They're always very well coached. If I had to pick one, it might be Pittsburgh, actually, as, you know, as an upset alert kind of team. But as a team that you might not expect at all, maybe Temple. I don't see Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio, their offense was ranked even lower than ours last year. And I'm not aware of any big changes they made as far as coaching or, big transfer portal acquisitions. I have to look more into it as we get closer to the first game, which is closer than people think. We're only like 2.5 months away from the season. Pretty soon I'll be giving my thoughts on like upcoming opponents and stuff. Let's see. We don't play Pitt. I could have sworn. Hang on. Let me not seem like a total idiot. 1 second. I got to have the schedule in front of me because I know with that realignment, it's not. I could have sworn we played Pitt this year. That's why I said it so confidently. Miami Hurricanes schedule. Let's see. One second, folks. Yeah, while I search, you guys let me know in the comments. Who do you think? Let's see. UNC, Clemson, Virginia, NC State, FSU, BC. That was the other one. All right, here we go. Google, Miami Hurricanes football schedule 2023. Here we go. Now we'll see it officially. All right, Miami of Ohio, Texas A&M, Bethune, Temple's the fourth one. Then we're off. We have Georgia Tech before North Carolina, so also a very winnable game. G-Tech is at home. Yeah, definitely the first 6 are winnable games. Then we face Clemson at home. I think that'll be a loss, most likely. But you never know. And then we got, right after that, we got to pick it right back up and play Virginia at home. You know what? I would say, BC is our last game of the regular season. I think that's where I got confused because we've been playing Pitt at the end of the year every season. Pitt and BC are like interchangeable in my head. They're kind of they're very similar. You got Louisville. Louisville's not going to be easy, especially the week after Florida State. We got to pick ourselves up and get ready to play a very talented Louisville team. Good thing is, though, it's at home. So that's the last home game. And NC State, FSU. Yeah. So, yeah, that second half of the season is way tougher. But I would say Virginia coming off that Clemson game. We're probably going to get beat in that Clemson game. So I need to see it. I need to see our team be mentally strong enough to shake it off, because that'll probably be first or second loss of the season. A lot still in the balance at that point. If all goes well, that's probably what we'll be at. And you come off that game and get a win against Virginia at home, that would be big. It may not seem that way, but I think that would be big. But that could be upset alert there for Virginia, because they're also in a transition, new head coach after Bronco Mendenhall left. So that's one that I could see. This team has a lot to prove before we start talking wins is easy. No, of course. But I would say this, Mohammed, even as bad as we played last year, Miami of Ohio should be an easy win. I'm sorry, but that's like maybe not on par with Tennessee, Middle Tennessee State, but it's not. It's down there. You got to come out and take care of business in that game. I don't care how bad we were last year. That game should be a win. Temple should be a win. Bethune-Cookman, obviously. So you got a few of those. Even after a bad season, should be wins. You got a few of those in the first few weeks. I'm saying A&M, though, is a winnable game. Not saying it's not a foregone conclusion by any means. That's going to be a very tight game. But beating A&M is possible. It's doable. This year will be different because of the trenches. A lot of new personnel in the trenches. I agree with you there. And it all starts and ends with blocking, in my opinion. I'm a big trench guy. So if you have that in order and everyone's healthy, healthy-ish at least, we should be all right, and we should be able to run the ball. If we can run the ball, then the passing game is going to take off. Should be easy, but have a lot to prove, not just last year or the last 17 years. I agree with you there. I'm a season ticket holder. I hope this team comes to play. Yeah, I see in your picture, you're actually at a game. Yeah, no, season ticket holder as well. So, no, I hope I see it too. Birdstone, as always, thank you for the support. Thank you again. Thank you, Lex, earlier in the stream for the dono. Always appreciated. And that's it for me as far as recruiting updates that I wanted to talk to you guys about. But I'll be on again later in the week. I am getting my wisdom teeth out on Tuesday, so I will be off camera probably for like 3-4 days. But at the very least, by next weekend, I should be back. Talking more recruiting. I'm going to try to have a guest on, so you don't just have to look at me, and we'll go from there. So take care, guys. Go Canes.